Friends, we gather once again to tell the Advent story, to share in the anticipation and in the waiting of this rainy season with night pressing on us as we wake and as we sleep, as we await together the birth of the Christ child, Emmanuel, God with us. Some years it is enough to have hazy, nostalgic-hued feelings carry us through Advent. Some years it is enough to feel the warmth of the season's tradition carry us through to the night when we welcome back the babe of love incarnate back into our lives. And some years it is enough to simply recite the Advent words that guide us to the cradle, for which we light a candle each Sunday and surround me as I speak. Hope, peace, joy, love. This year does not feel like one of those years. This year we have witnessed our neighbors being grabbed off the streets as they went about their ordinary lives, separated from their families and work and communities, held in inhumane conditions without due process. This year we have witnessed the militarization of our public streets, with soldiers patrolling our communities against the will of those communities and those leaders. We've witnessed our judicial system being weaponized and used for political and personal retribution, while our legislative branch shrugs. We have seen our public funds and public lands being appropriated as though they were there for personal funds and personal lands, there for the pleasure of the elected leader to distribute, withhold, or destroy as he sees fit. Many of us come to this Advent fatigued from the bombardment of bad news, shell-shocked at seeing levels of unchecked vindictiveness that we didn't think was possible from public leaders. We come worried for our nation's future. Many of us might be arriving at Advent with a sense of weariness, wondering what possibly these words and their rituals have to say to us this year. Perhaps feeling cynical that their smallness, the smallness of these words, has not much to offer a world so willing to co-sign cruelty. Feeling that the nativity story that we tell year after year is sweet, but not especially helpful, in a year where the norms of our society feel as if they might not hold. And that is all understandable. And yet I wonder if it is years like this one especially that we need to lean in to the meaning of each one of the words of Advent. That we need to dive deep into the Advent story, to move beyond our blurring of American commercialism and the nostalgia of the season, and approach the difficult realities of that first Advent. To consider that what those who lived through it might have an enormous amount to say to us this year especially, as we approach the story of the Nativity. Each service during our Advent and then into Christmas and Epiphany will explore together the story of a singular character in the story, what they might have been facing, the reality of their political, social, economic forces that they were facing, and how they relied on their ancient faith and belief that God was present in their lives, in their suffering, even as they faced unrelenting harshness. One character that we don't often talk about, except in the background, who greatly influenced the story, whose name is threaded throughout the Advent narratives, is Herod. Learning about him, I believe, will be helpful to understand how the rest of the characters in our story were shaped by the context of their times and helpful to understanding that the risks they took when they said yes to partnering with God to bring hope into the world. So Herod, I just learned this in preparation for today, Herod was not a Roman, but was a Jew, a neighbor and a citizen who conspired with empire to enrich himself and increase his power. He came to Rome's attention originally as a tax collector and not just an average collector, doing his job, gouging his community to provide financial benefits for Rome, but because he was the first one to turn in his quota of tribute to the Romans. I can only imagine the force and threat that he leveraged among his impoverished neighbors to get them to pay their tithes and taxes early, so that he could secure that attention from the Roman Empire. He was installed by them in 47 BCE, and they named him King of the Jews. He quickly became known as a paranoid and dangerous ruler, obsessed with building grandeur, almost to prove his worth. During his tenure, there was an increased threat of state violence. And due to his paranoia, probably some of it justified because he was not well liked, and many enemies, he developed his own personal militia that numbered in the thousands that protected him. And he also engaged a secret police of a kind that infiltrated his own community and reported back to him what they were hearing so that he could eliminate those threats quickly. He also placed heavy military presence on the streets in order to quickly contain protesters and troublemakers. He ruled with a violent impulse, an act first and ask questions later. For example, he did reduce the crime and banditry along the roads that were known to be dangerous for travelers and commerce, because heaven forbid we should prohibit travel that brought money and trade. But he did so by killing those who were perceived to be bandits on the spot, with no trial, no inquiry. He turned on those he perceived as threats, even if they were originally part of his entourage, even if they were part of his family. His brother, his mother-in-law, and some uncles all killed. He had an up-and-coming competitor drowned to prevent any competition for his leadership. And he leveraged heavy taxation on the population beyond what Rome required. And he used that taxation to build huge, ornate, fancy buildings. This was the world that our story of the first nativity takes place. A world in which an unchecked ruler, convinced that others are out to get him, treats the funds that he collects from his citizen as his own private spending account, trading on his name and influence to leverage wealth and power for himself at the cost of those he rules. And yet we tell a story every year about individuals who lived within those constraints, who managed to find it within themselves to still be able to hear when God was nudging them toward something, and to say yes to God, to say yes to that nudge. We learned about Zechariah last week, who accepted the silence placed upon him and leaned into listening from voices not usually heard, the women in his own home. We learn about Elizabeth, who joyfully welcomes a baby in her own old age, and welcomes her unwed teen relative into her home, who is carrying an infant she claims comes from God. We learn about Mary, who says yes to an awesome task of bearing God herself. We learn about Joseph, who commits to love even perhaps when he feels that love has not been returned, and even when it means risking his reputation and public regard to do so. We learn about the shepherds and the magi who feel the nudge of God in their own lives and who respond to it by announcing the birth of a king, even when everyone knows that the King of Jews already ruled the land. These people in our story are real people who experience lives of relentless burden and violence, and whose lands seem to be forever controlled by some violent force or another. Their yes to God, their participation in our nativity story was not guaranteed. In each case, it meant risking greatly for something that perhaps seemed small, insignificant to them in the moment. But they said yes anyways. And perhaps that is the hope that today is about. The action of hope that those in that first Advent displayed, not the description of hope or the feeling of it or some sort of fuzzy warmth that we get when we say hope, but the action of hope. Maybe we hope by not allowing ourselves to become numb or overwhelmed by empire's power. Maybe we hope by not allowing ourselves to believe, to fall into that trap of belief that our small part that we are moved to play is not enough. Maybe hope means instead believing that our response to the beckoning and the nudging of a living God matter. And then doing something. And then saying yes to God. Each person in the story made choices in their lives to risk, to go outside their comfort zone. They did not know that they were a part of a larger story that we would later tell, and neither do we. How will we hope this Advent? How will you respond, act in response to God's nudge in your life? May we listen. May we be open to hearing, and may we hope. And the people say, Amen.